Welcome to my latest Warhammer 40k battle report. This time it's my Death Guard, the end of all things, going up against the Custodes. Welcome to the planet Minerva, which is being destroyed by the end of all things. Orbital lasers are glassing the southern continents and Titans. Titans are walking in the deep. On this battle grid, which was once a quiet and religious part of the world, the Imperium has been gathering up the last resources, precious relics, holy items, ready for the evac. Inside these crypts are the bones of ancient saints, packed up, ready to go, and inside these crates, ancient manuscripts. And the planet Minerva is ruined. The Death Guard are rolling straight through here, so the Custodes are deployed onto this battle grid to lock this place down, secure it, and make sure these items get off-world. With that in mind, we're going to be playing a custom mission today. Play 40k your own way. I like custom missions. I like keeping it nice and simple. We've got, I think, 6 objectives down next to all these doorways over here. I believe it's 6. And we're going to be tearing the snot out of each other, and each of these objectives at the end of the mission will be worth D3 points. Is this watchtower very important? Is this crypt over here very important? Or will it only be worth 1 point? So 2,000 points of Death Guard versus Custodes. The battle mat is by gamemat.eu. Yes, gamemat.eu. And all the scenery is either Games Workshop stuff or you can't get it anymore. Sorry about that. And we welcome to the channel Wolfgang. Say hi, Wolfgang.
Hi, Wolfgang.
That's an interesting accent you have there. Where are you from?
Austria, not to be confused with the country with the kangaroos. We're the one with the cows.
Austria.
Central Europe, yeah.
There's a place in Vienna airport where they've got a desk for people who turn up in Austria instead of Australia. That's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing. I mean, who on earth would do such a thing? And you've flown all the way from Austria to Swindon.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, there's a guy who likes to play 40k and I'd like to play with him, so I'm here now.
I'm so deeply humbled. Thank you for coming all this way.
You're welcome.
With your Custodes. Let's go have a look at these armies. And this is bang on 2,000 points of my Death Guard, the end of all things. Death Guard have sticky objectives, but we're only scoring the objectives at the very end of the game. So that isn't going to come into effect. They've also got contagions. So if you get within 3, 6 or 9 inches and that radius expands as the turns go on, your toughness goes down by 1. And then you pick a second contagion, and the one I'm picking, the one I like to pick, feels narrative to me, is the one where your armor goes down as well. So if the Custodes get in range of their contagions, their toughness and their armor will go down. Leading my army today is the Demon Prince, Steve. He's got a deadly pathogen, which gets him an extra strength and attack. Here we've got wings. He'll be floating around all over the place. And his sidekick today is Lord of Contagion, Polus, who'll be joining 10 Blight Lord Terminators because I'm friendly. Someone flew in all the way from Australia. Not Australia. I'm going to say that about 5 times. Austria. So I thought, what's the friendliest thing to do? Throw 10 Blight Lord Terminators at the Custodes. And with a Lord of Contagion in the Blight Lord Terminators, they get reroll hits in close combat all the time. Blight Lord Terminators have got 2 flails, 2 launchers, lots of guns and things. That's nice. Over here, 4 units of 7 Plague Marines, the blessed number. In every squad, there is a Blight Launcher, a Plasma Gun, and 2 heavy Plague Weapons. I know there's 2 Plasma Guns because I put one on the Sergeant as well. And they can actually be quite tasty these days with the new Contagion rules. And there's 2 Rhinos for 2 of the units to rock around in. 2 Plague Burst Crawlers with Entropy Cannons, a big unit of 20 Poxwalkers. They were living here, they were looking after all the supplies and all the saintly relics, waiting for the airlift, and they've already been turned to the end of all things. And then we've got 3 fetid bloat drones, 1 with the heavy blight launcher, 2 with the spitties, plague spitty things. So we've got some long-range Dakka with 1 of the fetid bloat drones and the tanks, but this army, other than that, is pretty much a mid-range, short-range army, which is exactly where I want to be, delivering contagions to the Golden Boys, but also not exactly where I want to be, because Custodes are incredibly tasty in close combat. Let's go and have a look at the Golden Boys. And this is 1990 points worth of Custodes, all the way from Austria. I got it right. And this is a shield host attachment. Basically, 6s in melee are either lethal or sustained, and the shield host attachment means once per battle that will go off on 5s instead of 6s. And the AP goes up, but only in melee. Wolfgang, would you like to talk us through what you've brought here? Who are these fellas?
Yeah, sure. That's Artorios, my
Yes.
warlord.
Okay.
He will be leading this force, and that's Aeneas, his second in command.
Nice.
These two are actually leading a crusade at the moment back in Austria on a system which is redacted because I forgot the name again.
You're playing Crusade right now?
We're playing a crusade right now, which is quite fun, so I encourage everybody to try it at least once.
How many games have you got? How far into it are you?
15.
15?
Yeah, playing for nearly close a year now.
Nice.
So that's quite interesting, quite fun, because every unit gets to be upgraded and have new cool stuff, and suddenly you have scouting Terminators and stuff like that.
So are these guys been upgraded yet in the Crusade?
They are.
Are they beasts now?
They are horrible beasts.
Beautiful. You know what? I haven't spoken to very many people who are actually playing the Crusade system. So if you do play the Crusade system, comment in the comment section below. Let me know how you're getting on. You're clearly enjoying it if you've been doing it for a year.
Yeah.
Nice. What else you got? What have we got here?
I got nearly 2 of everything except for the bikes. I got 2 troops of wardens, nearly set out the same thing, mix of axes and spears. 2 troops of identical guard.
Okay.
2 spears, 2 shields. I got 2 Terminators, squads, each of 5, 3 spears, 2 axes, and just for a little bit of mobility, the bikes in the back.
Okay. And so the plan for your characters is to attach to the warden squads?
Absolutely, they are.
Okay. And I think I outnumber you 2-1 here. And here we are after deployment. I say here we are after deployment. 3 of the Custodes units are completely in reserve. Both of the Terminators and the Blade Champion with some Wardens are in reserve. No need for them to come down to this battle grid yet. They have Deep Strike. It's all about killing each other and taking these objectives at the end of the mission. And in response, the end of all things have nothing in reserve. Everything is on the table. I've got 2 units of Plague Marines ready to push around this way. 2 units of Plague Marines ready to push around that way. A Rhino, one of the units on each side is in the Rhino. The Terminators, well, they move 4. So they're just going to move straight into this compound here, plant their flag, and see if the Custodes are able to shift them. But we need to roll off to see who has the initiative. Who's going first? To you, sir, good luck. That's a 3. I've rolled a 5. It's Death Guard turn 1. So the Death Guard move remorselessly into the compound, advancing where possible in order to push forward. And as you can see, I can't see any of the Custodes lines. I think the only things that didn't advance were the 2 Plague Burst Crawlers. And they've got some indirect fire with their mortars. That's going to be the only shooting this turn. So let's lob a couple of mortars in. And I think the bikes are the fastest thing in Wolfgang's army. So let's lob the first mortar up and over that way for D6 plus 3 shots. Because I'm firing directly, I'm hitting on 4s. 6s are lethal. That's a good array of hitting. And bikes are less than toughness, strength 8. So 3s to wound, quite a few wounds. But you get a full 2-up save against that because indirect fire. So 2-up saves. I tick a 1. One of the bikes drops down to 2 wounds. Then we'll do it again with the second Plague Burst Mortar. And I've got 9 shots again. I'm rolling hot for the number of shots, but can I hit? I can hit a bit. Those are lethal. These ones, these are 3s. We have 4 more wounds, 4 more 2-up saves. If you fail one of these, you haven't failed any of them. I would have killed a bike. That is the end of all things, turn 1. Let's find out how the Custodes respond. First up, T-Phase. Wolfgang, first time trying proper Builder's Brew. What do we think? Marks out of 10.
That's a good one. Put it to a solid 10.
Nice. Then here we are after the Custodes movement phase. These fellas, these Custodian Guardians staying quiet down here. There's an objective down there that they want to score. They could run out and throw some shots down into some Terminators, but Terminators. The bike zip up and over from one piece of cover to another piece of cover. And then the Wardens and the other Custodian Guard are on this side. And I think they want to throw down some shots at the Plague Marines. Here are all the shields and axes. They hit on 2s. Strength 4, toughness 5. Is that only 2 wounds?
That's only 2.
At -1, 2 4-up saves, 2 damage a time.
Yes.
You kill one. Now unit number 2, only 2 are in range, hitting on 2s. And we have 3 hits and wounding on 5s again. And nothing, but they reroll all the wounds?
Yeah, because they're in range of an objective.
Okay. And that's it for turn 1, a cautious start. A couple of wounds on a biker, 1 plague marine goes down, but there's still a big distance between the Custodes and the Death Guard, and there's still half of the Custodes forces up in deep strike. So we're going to go on to Death Guard turn 2, where they continue with their remorseless advance. Here we are at the end of Death Guard turn 2. So shoving forward, running with the Terminators. I rolled a 1 this time. And getting down and having a look, I couldn't get the drones anywhere in line of sight or range of the Custodes that are poking their head around that side. So what I've done is spread along the left to try and block off the deep strike, aware that there is a lot of Custodes that can teleport down onto the battle grid. Down this side, however, the unit inside the Rhino of 7 have got out and they want to charge the Custodes, and there's some tanks down here that can throw some firepower into that unit as well, hopefully completely removing an entire unit. And the unit of 6 jumped inside the Rhino there, trying to stay very, very quiet, because there's one of the critical objectives down here, and I'm going to need some scoring options down here at the end of the game. But Wolfgang is spending a CP on rapid ingress. And a unit of Alaris Terminators appear at the very edge of the battle grid. I like to think that they didn't deep strike in there, but there was cloaking technology. It's like the Predator. They're suddenly blurred out of the trees. Now we're going to go into the shooting phase. Let's start pouring some fire down into this unit here. We're going to start with the Plague Marines. I'm spending a CP on Ferric Blight, which gets my AP up. Here are the bolt guns. We're hitting on 3s. 6s are lethal. These are going to wound on 5s. Now they're AP -1 with Ferric Blight, but you're also in contagion range, so your armor's dropped by 1. 4-up saves. Take 2 wounds. You put it on a shield guy with 2 wounds. So let's overcook some plasma. Get it up to 2 damage a time. 3s to hit, only hit twice. But it will be 3s to wound. 1 wound, 1 4-up invulnerable save or death. You're alive. And then hazardous checks, because I overcooked. We're okay. Let's do the Blight Launcher on 3s, and then strength 6. They're toughness 6, right?
Yeah.
2 wounds. Again, invulnerable saves. Yay, he dies. 1 CP spent, 1 Custodian dead. I'll buy that for $1. That's pretty good. Let's go on to the Plague Burst Crawler, firing the mortar. And this time only has 4 shots. But I can see, so I'm hitting on 3s. That one's lethal. These are wound on 3s. So 2 wounds, -1 but +1, because cover enclosed ruin there. 4 damage. Come on, boy. There's a couple of entropy cannons as well. So, and then this one over here, there's another mortar dropping down. And honestly, that's all that's going to hit that unit. Command point. So 1 takes 2 wounds. Not dead yet. Maybe the entropy cannons can change that, because that's a lethal hit. And this one will wound on a 3, that wounds at strength 10. These are 2 more invulnerable saves. And you make them both. Still alive. Okay, so the Plague Burst Mortar from tank number 2, trying to take off those last 2 wounds. D6 plus 3 shots, 8 shots. I can see, so we are hitting on 3s. They are lethal. These are wounding on 3s, but you are getting cover. Mind you, that is a lot of wounds. Yes, 7. And you fail one of them, which is 2 damage, and will nuke that injured guy. Now, interestingly, because of range of line of sight and the fact that the Custodes are hugging to cover for now, waiting for the Death Guard to extend themselves, that's it for my shooting phase. There's no more shots. Actually, no, Rhino over here can put a couple of shots into Terminators. Fired the Rhino, no damage caused. Now we're onto the charge phase. 6-inch charge into the unit that I nuked from above. And that's a 7, Nurgle's number. After we pile in, 7 Plague Marines are attacking 2 Custodian Guard, and I spent that CP on Ferric Blight again to give you a 4-up save instead of the 3-up save. Here's all the Plague Knives. On 3s, 6s lethal. Now, I might drop the toughness down, but you're still toughness 5. So I'm winning on 5s, which is why I spent the CP on Ferric Blight. It's 4 wounds, 4 wounds, AP -1 with Ferric Blight, and then the drop the thing. So 4 up saves, and you make every single save. Brilliant. It's fine. The heavy plague weapons will do it. Only these hit on 4s. Look at that. Beautiful. Lethal hits with the heavy plague weapons. Not power fists. Strength 8. Okay, 3 wounds. 3 more invulnerable saves. 2 damage a time. These are heavy, don't you know? And I injure 1. I didn't kill any. To be honest, it was a long shot charging a unit of Custodes with some Plague Marines, but I'd hoped for more. And now they get to fight back. Custodes fighting back, choosing sustained hits. That's what they do. Choose sustained or lethal. And you're hitting on 2s. And there's a couple of sustained ones. Strength 7. Wounding on 3s. And then you're re-rolling all hits because you're a Custodian Guard unit in range of an objective. Yes? Is that the thing?
Yeah,
I think so.
Which was necessary because I rolled bad.
And that helped turn it around. 7 saves, -2, 2 damage. It's Nurgle's number. I'm not going to fail any of these.
Probably not.
I'm not going to fail any of them, except for the ones I failed. That's the end of turn 2. Those Custodes should have been dead, but at least I only lost 4 Plague Marines. The battle lines are met, and I'm all over their deployment zone, and I've spread out all over the place, trying to mitigate against some of the deep strike. However, some have already deep struck in over here. The smell, the filth, the contagions of the Death Guard continue to wash over this battle grid as we go into Custodes turn 2. Here we are after the Custodes movement phase. This unit down here was thinking about coming out into the street and selling their souls into 10 Blightlord Terminators, but instead they've decided to hold. There is an objective down there. Talking about objectives though, there's 3 on this side of the battle grid. 1 on this doorway to this crypt, 1 there, and 1 by these crates. So there's 3 in close proximity. And this is what it looks like after the unit that got assaulted fell back out of close combat. The bikes have zipped forward, looking at that tank. The unit of wardens with your HQ, the shield captain, has come round this way. Here's the Terminators that deep struck in, and I left a pocket. And a second unit of Terminators have landed in here. The Blade Champion with his wardens is still off, however, but there's a heavy footprint of Golden Boys down this side of the battle grid. So I've decided to overwatch, because one of these bikes is on 2 wounds, right? And you are in contagion range, so let's flame on for 2d6 auto hits. 7, Nurgle's number again, it's coming up a lot. Now, wouldn't normally wound on 4s, but contagion range, 3s, 4 up saves, because of contagion range and AP -1, that does nuke one of them. It's only 20 plus Custodes on the table, so every model they lose, it's a heavy, heavy blow. Anyway, shooting phase coming up. The Terminators here have decided to pick on the Rhino. Custodes shooting phase, lots of anti-infantry stuff, and I put a lot of high toughness stuff here. I think the plan is to try and crack it open and then charge it. So I'm definitely going to spend a CP on Cloud of Flies. So it's -1 to hit. 1 minute, just checking there. Rhinos have smoke. So we'll pop smoke instead because it's like Cloud of Flies and AP. It's better. Mind you, I'm in cover anyway. It doesn't matter. One of them, I'm doing one of them. Right, one more thing. The Custodes are also spending its EP on Archaeotech munitions. So lethal hits against the Rhino. Here's all the spears and the axes. 3s to hit though, because firing through smoke, and there's a couple of lethals. The rest are going to need 6s to wound. There's 3 wounds. AP -1, but I've got a bit of cover.
And reroll because of...
Oh yeah, every time they target vehicles, monsters or things. That's what Terminators do. They get the reroll. So 5 wounds come through. At -1 with the cover, 5 3-up saves. I lose 4 wounds. Then they're Uzi grenade launchers. Number of shots. 3s to hit. And 6s to wound, but the full reroll is a thing. These are all 1 damage though, aren't they?
Yeah.
These easy grenade launcher things. Okay, 6 more, 3-up saves. I lose 2 more wounds. It's on 4 remaining. You haven't cracked it open. So, unit number 2 is rinsing and repeating, only without the aid of lethal hits. They left their Archaeotech munitions at home. Axes and swords. Still got smoke screens, so it's still 3s to hit and 6s to wound, and there's 2 more wounds.
And still some rerolls.
Oh yeah, rerolls, I forgot. Yes, -1 but +1 because of smoke. So, oh, it's dead. I've spent all my CPs. You have cracked it open. Does it deadly demise? It does deadly demise, which will do D3 wounds to this unit. For 3 wounds to your Terminators. There's 6 fellas inside. And one of them takes a mortal wound. And then they disembark. So the Plague Marines get out there in the middle of a Terminator sandwich. Now the bikers are shooting at my Plague Burst Crawler on 2s. And they both hit. And strength?
9.
It's 5 to wound.
Nothing.
Doesn't wound. So last thing left to shoot is this big unit here, firing in at these Plague Marines. That should take them away. And then there's lots of charging options for the Custodes. Let's see if they can hit. Oh, they can hit. But you need 5s to win. Tough, smelly Plague Marines. And only 3 wounds come through. 3, 4-up saves. I only lose 1. So that's the end of the shooting phase for the Custodes. The Rhino gone, this unit injured. We're going on to the charge phase. It's a 7-inch charge for the stealth Terminators to engage the Plague Marines that got blown out of the Rhino. And that's the Snake Eyes. Come on, boy. Oh, you've got another charge here that you can do. This charge is happening. There's, interesting. Not CP re-rolling it. You've got other options. Bikers into Plague Burst Crawler. They'll definitely get in there. So the bikers make it into the tank. This unit charges the unit of Plague Marines that have failed to kill their target. Now you've got the Terminators. Because I know you're thinking here. You could engage the tank. Because you've got re-roll all hits or wounds or something against the tank. But it's a 9-inch charge. Mind you, there's that unit of Plague Marines just sat there. Which one are you thinking about? Which one are you going to charge then?
If I roll a dice and it's a 1, 2, 3, I will just go.
You're going to let Zinch decide. On a 1, 2, 3 this one, and a 4, 5, 6 this one. Zinch, praying to the dark god. Zinch says charge the Plague Marines.
So I do the other one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. I'd ignore Zinch and go for the tank. So it's a 9-inch charge into the tank.
Yeah.
Which means you're going to make it. It's going to be fine. It's not fine. Do you want a command point re-roll it?
Yeah.
And that's a failed charge. You should have listened to Zinch.
Should have.
So the Terminators were caught between 2 mines there and failed to charge either of their targets. Then we went on to the fight phase. Those 3 Plague Marines, they didn't stand a chance. They got wiped out. Now we're on to the bikes. Hitting the Plague Burst Crawler on 2s, using lethal hits for your Qatar. There's 2 lethals. With Lance, the rest are wound on 4s. 4 4-up saves. I only take 2 wounds. The tank revved its engines, failed to wound those bikers back again, and that is the end of Custodes. Turn 2. So there's 10 Terminators down here next to these 1, 2, 3 objectives, and a unit of Plague Marines right in the middle. I guess they're going to sacrifice themselves just like that other unit did. And because you're staying back over here, still going to be out of charge range from the Terminators, who spent 2 turns chonking all the way down the street just to get that to that point. And there's still a Blade Guard champion in reserve with a unit of Wardens, but the Death Guard will continue their remorseless advance to swarm into this installation, swarm toward these holy reliquies and try and lock down this battle grid. Here we are after the movement phase for the Death Guard in turn 3, and I'm thinking about turns 4 and 5 and getting onto some of these objectives in the end game, looting these crypts or locking down this entrance to the battle grid over here. So the unit that was inside the Rhino have got out, so I can use the Rhino's footprint to start pushing some things back, and this drone is zipping around this side. It's going to put some flamers in. I rolled a 1 for the advance on the Terminators, so they're nowhere near where I wanted them to be. But again, this crypt has an objective which I want to lock down in turns 4 and 5. And then round the other side of the battle grid, well, it's Operation Kill the Terminators. These guys deep struck in, so everything is going to focus on them. The drone, Demon Prince Steve, drone number 2, even the Plague Marines that got blown out of the Rhino, and even this tank. Let's remove 1 unit utterly. And then the Custodes are back there a little bit. But Wolfgang, you're spending CP on rapid ingress one more time.
Yeah, like it.
Yeah. Because the Blade Guard champion, when he rapid ingresses in, he can advance and charge once per battle. So if you're bringing him in now, then in your turn, you've got the movement options.
Exactly. That's the reason.
I like it. So the Custodes appear here, right in front of me. Looks like they're committed to this side of the battle grid. Of course, Terminators, though, once per game, they can go back up into golden light and deploy back down again, which is why the Terminators must die. So let's shoot drone number 1 into them. Number of auto hits. Anti-infantry 2+. We're at -2. That kills one outright. 1 minute. You made it longer from a Demon Prince to charge. Okay, drone number 2 is the last drone killed 1. Can this drone kill a couple? So those are lethal. It's strength 6, but contagions are a thing. No, actually it's strength 8. Heavy blight launchers. 4 at -2. Actually -3 because it, 4s. 4 up saves. There's cover and things. Each doing 2 damage.
Oh, that's a pity.
Yeah, you need to pass some saves at some point.
Yeah.
Well, there goes 1,000 points. Now we're on to the tank. D6 plus 3 shots with blast. Hitting on 3s. 6s are lethal. And then these are wounding on 3s. 5 4-up saves again. And you made a save. You made a couple of saves. One's dead. One's down to 2 wounds remaining. Then the entropy cannons come in. And one of them hits. At strength 10 with your toughness reduced, will wound on a 2.
Actually a 3, because they're toughness 7.
They're toughness 7?
Yeah.
It doesn't wound. Isn't it something weird? Like, they're toughness 7, the Terminators, but the bikes are only toughness 6 or something. Yeah. I don't know why that is. Why is that? Does anyone know?
I have no idea. Absolutely none.
Let's fire the heavy slugger in. 3 of them hit. This is going to need 5s. 2 of them wound. Again, invulnerable saves because of contagions and things. That fella goes down to 1 wound remaining. It's probably overkill to fire everything from those Plague Marines into that last guy. So let's overkill. A few dice rolls later, that is the end of the Terminator squad, and that's a lot of points gone. And it suddenly occurred to me that now Steve hasn't got anything to charge. You might better charge up and over and get those bikers. Maybe. I should have had faith in my shooting and put him around that way. But he's there now. Anyway, this tank is in close combat. What we're going to do is shoot the entropy cannons point blank and the stubbers into close combat into the bikes right in front. And then everything else here? No, we're going to put everything into your Blade Guard unit thing with the champion because they suddenly appeared out of nowhere. And the gunner is like, oh no, shoot them. So Mortar has 6 shots. Mortar's going to hit on 4s though, because I am locked in combat. 2 of them are lethal, and that wounds as well. These are 3-up saves. You should be fine. You're fine. Here's 2 entropy cannons to the face, and they both miss. Then we put the slugger stubber in, took a wound off. That's all that tank did. But then we come around over here. Fetter bloke drone number 2. It's got the plague spitters. I'm looking at this unit. Are these the wardens? No, these are just custodians. Number of auto hits is 7. Anti-infantry 2 up. Only 4. -1 plus you say +1 because of 3s. 3s because of cover and things. And you're good. Then I looked across the battle grids and I don't think I have any more guns. End of my shooting phase. Have wiped out those Terminators though. So we're thinking about charging. It'd be madness to put those Plague Marines into those bikers, wouldn't it? Yes. So let's do that. That's a 5. That's a failed charge. Let's CP reroll it. That's a 3. That's definitely a failed charge. I've got Demon Prince though. This is only a 10-inch charge. I'll definitely make this one. I don't make that one. That's a 3. And the Terminators advance forward, so they can't charge. I don't really want to put my drone into these guys. Do I? I mean, you're going to hurt me. So no, there's no point in putting the drone into those. I mean, it would lock them up, but then you hurt the drone. Then you're caught between a drone and some Terminators. I don't need to charge there. I don't feel like I need to charge. That is the end of Death Guard turn 3. We're still pushing forward. This part of the battle grid will be very critical. Remember, these objectives are worth D3 points at the very end of the game. And Wolfgang declared his once per battle thing at the start of this battle round. So as we go on to Custodes turn 3, their critical hits will go off on 5s and 6s. And then I just remember we've got the fight to resolve. We've got the tank and the bikers here. Yeah, so your lethal hits are going off on 5s now until the end of the battle round. And there's a few lethals. So they're lethal, the rest will wound on 5s, because no longer any... Oh, that's 7.
-3.
-3.
Yeah.
5+ invulnerable saves. It's -3 because of your thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. 2 damage a point.
So the tank is still alive on 2 wounds remaining. It's leaking pus, oil and fluid. It revved its tracks, tried to do some damage back and failed, and now we're going on to Custodes turn 3. Here we are after the Custodes movement phase. Quite a few things have happened. At the end of my turn, the Terminators that were over here done their once per battle special move, and you've picked them up. And all my guns were down this side of the battle grid. So the Custodes have shifted, and their entire footprint is now down in the middle, except for these 2 little fellas here guarding this objective. You spent a CP to fall back, shoot and charge with the bikers. The Blade Champion has done his once per battle advance and charge thing, and you've got a good dice roll up and over the wall. And now there's a lot of forces, including the Guardians, who are down here behind this chapel area. A lot of guys are about to pour a lot of firepower in to my big unit of Terminators down here. And the tank's on 2 wounds. This unit are pushing up. So with the Death Guard slightly out of position, the Custodes mean to capitalise this. Remove the tank, remove the Terminators, and take a strong stance in the middle of the battle grid as we go on to their shooting phase. We're going to start the shooting phase with the Shield Captain's unit firing everything down at these 6 Plague Marines down here. Lots of shots, hitting on 2s and wounding on 5s. 5 4-up saves, only lose 2 guys. So there's still 4 left, and now we're down into the middle. The Terminators that redeployed from Golden Light they come are firing everything into the Terminators. Now I feel like the Terminators are going to take a lot of firepower, so I'm going to Cloud of Flies them to give them stealth. -1 to hit. We're starting off with the Ballistus Grenade Launchers though, because they have blast. So 5d6 shots, adding 2 to every single one of these. Alright, many shots, 3s to hit. Daka, daka, daka.
That's horrible.
Dude, look at all those 1s and 2s. That's stealth. That stealth really helped.
Yeah.
So 5s to wound, but Terminators re-roll wounds when they're targeting a character unit, vehicles, monsters. There's a character in that unit. So you get a load of re-rolls. I need a chunk of 3-up saves. I only take 2 wounds. One of them's tickled but not dead yet. But then we have all the spears and the axes firing in on 3s. And then 5s. Re-rolling. More 3-up saves. So the injured one guy dies. These are 2 damage at a time, right? So you take out 2 Terminators from your Terminators. Yeah. Next up, unit number 2, hitting on 3s. Cloud of Flies still in effect. That didn't help me there. These are wounding on 5s. And you're in range of an objective. And they're a Custodian Guard, so they reroll wounds as well. Nice, that worked. Okay, so more 3-up saves. You kill another Terminator. 2 units fired, 3 unit Terminators dead. Now we're on to unit number 3. 3s. And 5s, but finally no rerolls. There's a wound. And there's a save. Finally, the bikes. Both of them hit. And these are going to be, well, just 1 wound. Minus a lot though, right? This is the missile launcher thing. Yeah, so I need a 4-up and Van. I failed my 4-up and Van.
3 damage flat.
You're dead. 4 Terminators gone, and I think that's the end of the Custodes shooting phase. A couple of Plague Marines here, 4 Terminators in the middle. Then we're going to charge all of this lot, trying to engage the Terminators. And this unit with your Shield Captain's going into the tank, right?
It is.
Into the tank. Don't roll snake eyes. That's a 3. Are you 4 away? Dude, you're just out. You spent all your CPs. That was horrible. That was horrible. Okay. This unit into Terminators, I think you need a 3 or 4. It'll be fine. You've done your bum roll.
This one?
Yes. That's a 4. They're in. So no space for the Terminators that deep struck in to fit in there. But because this unit failed to charge the tank, the bikes that fell out of combat, they're turning around and recharging the tank. Okay, Snake Eyes was enough. Snake Eyes was enough. You're okay. You're in there. I don't have the CP to interrupt. I don't have any CP. So we'll start with the bikes. They pile in. You're doing the lethal hits. This is on 5s because Marshal Qatar. well, 2s to hit, 5s to lethal. These all wound on 4s. And then it's AP -3 because of martial guitar. So 2 5 up and vulnerable saves, and my tank's okay. My tank's not okay. Tank deadly demises. Tank doesn't. So tank is gone. Now we're going to the Custodes units, which piled into the Terminators. You're doing lethal because there's no point sustained, or
no, other way.
Other way, sustained. They're still in range of that objective. They're hitting on 2s.
I assume it's 6.
These are the swords, so I think you're wheeling on 4s. And here we are after the reroll. Only 1 damage a time, but a lot of 4 up and vulnerable saves. That will kill 1, 2, put 1 down to 2 wounds. Then the fellas with the spears on 2s. And then 3s to wound. 3s to wound. You're rolling well with this unit.
Yeah, I do.
And you've got the reroll wounds because you're in range of an objective marker that you control. These are all AP -3 because of the guitar thing. 2 damage a time. 1 is on 2 wounds. This could be painful. So the 1 on 2 wounds is dead. Another one's dead. Another one's dead. That's 3 dead. 1's down to a wound. And that was awesome. And that was just 1 unit. And now there's only 2 Death Guard left there. And the second unit piles in and fights. So this is the Blade Champion with devastating wounds on 2s. 5s are sustained. So that goes straight back in again. And he's strength 6. 4s to wound. 6s are, just 1 wound.
Yep.
Just 1 wound.
-4, 3 damage.
I'll be okay. I'm not okay, he's dead. We're down to the Lord of Contagion. It's spearing time on 2s. At least this unit doesn't have loads of rerolls, but there's loads of 5s and 6s, which are sustained. 3s to wound. That was, this looks painful. Still some axes after this, so I don't think Polis is long for this world. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we? He's definitely dead. In 1 turn, you've taken out 10 Blight Lord Terminators and a Lord of Contagion without breaking sweat. Mind you, it was most of your army. So, after 3 turns of running up the central street, the Blight Lord Terminators were caught in a trap by the Custodes, and it was executed perfectly, and they have been wiped out. The Custodes establishing a solid footprint on these 3 objectives down here, but there's still a couple of Plague Marines being annoying, and I've still got quite a few big guns, and my Demon hasn't jumped on anything yet, as we go on to turn 4. Here we are after the Death Guard movement phase, and I'm slightly alarmed because there's a lot of Custodes in the middle of the battle grid, which means in turn 5 they could pressure this objective that my Poxwalkers have been happily guarding, or this objective that this unit has been happily guarding. So I need to do something about that. So these unit of Plague Marines, well, they have to sell their soul, along with the Rhino, along with the drone, along with this drone here. Need to start pushing some firepower down in the middle of the battle grid and hurt the Custodes. And talking about hurting the Custodes, I've got the tank, which is uninjured. I've got my Demon, which has yet to make a charge, and the drone and this unit of Plague Marines to pressure this way as well. We're in a half moon. We've caught the Custodes, or maybe we've come into their trap again. But we're going to start the shooting phase by lobbing a mortar up and over into the Wardens here. So you're turning on their once per battlefield, no pain?
Yes, I will.
Okay, all the shots into them. Here's the mortar, adding 3 to this, well, 4 to this with blast. 3s to hit you, no lethals. 3s to wound. And
4s.
4s to wound, oh yeah, because the strength is higher than your toughness, so that's only 2 wounds. You are in contagion range and things, so 4 up saves. You make them both. Let's do some entropy cannons to the face. One of them hits, and it wounds. 4 up and run again, which you make again. Then the double came in and did nothing. Let's keep going. I mean, bikes. Do I then shoot at bikes and then charge them? Because you use it once per phase and then you can't feel no pain in the fight phase, right? Once it's gone, it's gone. Okay, so the drone then, we'll put them into the bikes. The drone will flame on into the bikes and auto hit you 7 times. And win those bikes on 3s because of contagions and things. 4 up saves. Okay, 2 wounds. Plague Spear from the Demon Prince. 3 auto hits. At strength 5. Nothing. Plague Marines. Overcooking Plasma into bikes on 3s. Oh, that's nice. And 3s. Okay. 3 more 4+ invulnerable saves. I kill one and injure one. There's 2 hazardous checks there. I'm good. One's on 2 wounds. Then the blight launcher comes in and hits twice, and one of them's lethal. The other one wounds on a 3. So 1 4-up save or death on the bikes. Death on the bikes. Right. So that's one unit taken care of. And then Steve's going to have to kill them on his own. He might be able to do it. Maybe. Let's move around here. So if I shoot these fellas, you're just going to 4-up feel no pain them as well. Maybe. Well, let's see. I'm going to flame the wardens with your blade champion thing. Are you doing the feel no pain thing?
I can't do it. It needs to be at the start of the phase.
Start of the phase?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Auto hits with flamer spewy thing. 7 again. Anti-infantry 2 up. So that's 5 wounds. And with contagions, you need 4s. I think I kill one. And then let's fire everything in from the Plague Marines and the Rhino. And when the smoke clears, there's 3 left with your Blade Champion. And the last thing left to fire is this fetid bloke drone here. And you're still in contagion range. So let's continue to pour it on. On 3s, that's 4 hits. And it would be 3s to wound, but 4s because of wardens. That's 2 wounds, 2 more invulnerable saves. And I kill another. And that's the end of my shooting phase. I think it'd be crazy to send some Plague Marines in there. So I'm probably going to spend some Plague Marines in there. But first, we'll come over here and we'll actually try and charge then, I think. So Steve needs to make this. Please make the charge, Steve. Come on now. That's a 7. We get in there. And these are the ones that have done the thing?
Yeah.
They've done the thing. And I might as well send the drone in as well. The reason for this is because the drones, they can always fall back, shoot and charge. That's their thing. And that's an 8. So cramp, we get in there. And then Plague Marines into Blade Guard Champion dude thing. And it's a 7-inch charge. Yeah, why not? 7, Nurgle clearly wants it. That's a 4, Nurgle doesn't want it. Let's send the drone down instead. And that's another 10. The drone makes it in there. So just a drone is in combat with them, and you're choosing not to activate the 4-up feel no pain thing.
Nope.
Because it's just a drone.
Yeah. It will bite me in the butt.
But at the end of the charge phase, one of them is on 1 wound, so I'm going to tank shock you.
I could spend the CP for 4-up feel no pain against mortal wounds.
You can.
I could.
You could.
I could. Whenever I take a mortal wound.
So we're both spending CP. This to do mortal wounds. You're spending it to try and negate mortal wounds. I need 5s. I do 2 mortal wounds. And then your CP is a 4-up feel no pain?
Yeah.
And you make 1 fail one, but 1 was on a wound. So I do take him out. And then the plague probe licks out and hits twice. And it would be wounding on 3s, but it's going to wound on 4s because of wardens, and it doesn't do any wounds. And that's the end of the probe and the drone, but at least there's only 2 left in that unit. Then we come around here to drone number 2, probing them. 1 hit. 1 wound. You do need a 4-up in bun though because of contagions and things, and you're fine. And now we're on to my Demon Prince. Big Hellforge Blade in strike mode. Hits on 2s. It is 3 damage a time, and it would normally wound you at strength. Strength 9 with a pathogen would normally wound on 3s, but 4s because wardens. 4s. Only 2 wounds. 4-up invulnerable saves or death, so drop dice don't count. Only 1 dies.
I use my Warlord's ability to reroll 1 time. I use Stratagem for free.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
I use it as a reroll.
Okay.
So I'm good.
I didn't kill any.
Nope.
So then you pile in, and once per game, the Warlord can do sustained hits and lethal at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're doing it now. 1 axe is hitting the drone and hits that many times. Strength 9?
Yeah.
It wounds twice. It's only -1 though, these things, but it is 3 damage a time. So 4s? Okay, I take 6 damage.
That's tough.
It's on 3 left. So then 2 axes are hitting Steve. On 2s. At least there's a 6, which is lethal and sustained. The rest are strength 9 and I'm toughness 10.
So 5s?
Yeah. 2 wounds. -1 on the axes?
Yeah.
Demon Prince is a 2-up save. So 3s? He's good. He's good.
I thought so.
And then there's a few spears coming in. Now all the spears including 7 attacks from the Blade Champion. There's no shield Captain. That's the dude. That was 5 1s and no 6s. 5s to wound. Is that 1 wound?
That's 1 wound.
This has been... I bounced into you, did nothing, and I made that save. So we did nothing to each other, except you hurt my drone quite a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. We're coming over here to drone number 2, where your Blade Champion and a guy with a spear is hitting that one. Here's the guy with the spear.
Lethal hits?
Lethal hits. There's a lethal. You did a lethal. The rest will wound on 5s. There's a lethal.
-2 to damage.
It takes 2 wounds. And then the Blade Champion.
I think...
He's got different stances, right? He can do devastating, lethal, sustained, all sorts of stuff. He's doing devastating wounds. He hits on 2s. That one's lethal. So that'll go straight through. These are wound on 5s. 2 devastating wounds. How much damage is that?
No, that's you need to make a save on this one. That's devastating.
Save on that one. Doesn't help. How much damage on that?
3 each.
Wow. Okay, so this drone's down to 3 wounds and that drone is down to 3 wounds, but at least they're still in it. So the Death Guard refuse to go gentle into this good night. They're pouring on the pressure as we go into Custodes turn 4. Right, here we are after the Custodes movement phase. They're positioning themselves for turn 5, and you spent the only CP you've got this turn to fall back, shoot and charge with the unit that were locked up with the drone and Steve, because they're going to get charged by the unit of Terminators that appeared in the back street last turn, climbing over the wall, going that way. And talking about setting up for the end game, there's an objective over here, assuming that you kill the Plague Marines and swing by that way. These guys are already scoring that one. The Blade Champion and the last surviving member that got charged by the drone and everything, they've come back this way. And you're move blocking with the second unit over here. Because those Plague Marines could move and then charge the other, or the Rhino could move and then charge, or the drone. There's options for me to get round onto this objective. So professionally setting up a move block there, which I approve of. It puts you on 3 of the objectives for now. The other 3 are down here and down in my end. But the Custodes do have the last actions of this battle. So at this stage in the battle, there's everything to play for. The start of the battle, not a lot of wounds caused either side. Now this part of the battle, there's chunks getting torn out of each other's armies. And we're going to start the shooting phase with the Terminators. 4 of them shooting at this drone here on this side of the wall. 1 of them into the drone on the other side of the wall, and both of the drones are on 3 wounds remaining. What are we firing first?
There's 4 spears in this drone.
4 spears into this drone here. Okay. Hitting on 2s. 6s to wound.
Everything.
Yes. There's 2 6s already. There's 3 6s. All at -1, 2 damage.
They are.
So a bunch of 4-up saves. That's a dead drone. Does it go boom? Doesn't go boom. Then the shots into drone number 2. Both of them miss. Grenade launcher. Shoots 5 times. Hits on 2s. Wounds on 6s. Re-rolling everything because it's a vehicle. And no wounds caused. Okay, so 1 target down. The unit that fell back. Shooting into this unit. Trying for target number 2. Trying to get rid of all the Plague Marines. 2s to hit. And 5s to wound. No, 3. Yes, 5s. 4s? You take out 2. There's 2 left alive. This drone's on 3 wounds, and you can see over the top of the wall there to hit the top of the drone on 2s. And wounding on a, not that, but a reroll.
Nope,
no,
that's a warden.
They don't get a reroll. Okay, so 1 unit left to shoot. The Custodian Guard in the middle of the street. They can also, we got down, they can also see the drone as well. But there's a unit of Plague Marines here as well. So you're shooting at the drone there?
Yeah, I do.
It's the fastest thing, yes. There's a couple of 1s there. And then 5s to wound. 1 wound. 2 wounds. Okay. There's a bit of cover in the way.
I know.
So do get 3-up saves. And it's down to 1 wound remaining. And that's the end of the shooting phase. Now the Custodes charge. And at the end of the charge phase, the Shield Captain, the Wardens and the Terminators charge Steve and the drone. Starting with the Terminators, hitting Steve. Here's all the axes, and you're going for lethals, and there are no lethals there, and these axes are going to wound him on 5s. He's a tough old demon. That is 3 wounds.
No, re-rolling.
Oh, yes.
It's still a character.
That is 4 wounds.
-1, 3 damage.
Okay, so 3 up saves. I'm going to command point 1. I didn't spend it on purpose. And he takes 3 wounds. He's lost. Yeah, he's down to 7. He's got 7 remaining. And we do all the spears. On 2s. There's lethal. 5s to wound. With the reroll. Didn't help you.
Nope.
So these are -2 though.
Yeah.
He's got 7 wounds remaining. If I fail every single one of these, he's dead. Only fair. Oh, he's still alive on 1 wound remaining. But we've got unit number 2 with your shield, captain, and both of these Death Guard units are on 1 wound remaining. Surely they can't withstand this. Are these the axes?
These are the axes.
2 axes going into drone. There's a few lethals. That will definitely help. And then it's strength 9 versus toughness 9. So you're wounding on 4s. And that is 5 wounds. 4 up saves. That's a dead drone. And it blows up and does a mortal wound to everything in range, including Steve, and kills my Demon Prince. Now, the shield captain's very angry because he wanted the glory of killing Steve, but instead a bit of shrapnel blew off the side of my drone and took the glory from him. At least a bit of shrapnel took out one of the Terminators as well, because one was on 1 wound remaining, and that is the end of Custodes turn 4. A little bit of consolidation there. That's it for the Custodes. It's all to play. I mean, 1, 2. I need to go away and think now. In Death Guard, turn 5. Okay, so there's 2 solid objectives that are safe for the Custodes. This one and this one. And I think there's 2 safe for mine. This one down here, the entrance to the battle grid, and also the watchtower. There's 1 behind there, which means this one and this objective, which are worth D3 at the end of the game, are all to play for. And there's 2 units here, so they could take that one and that one. So I need to kill one of these units or lock it up, or... So those Plague Marines round the corner need to make a ridiculously long charge, and I need to throw all the firepower I can in against the Terminators. Let's start with a tank. Let's do the big blasty thing of doom, and I have 8 shots. 3s to hit. There's a lethal at least. 3s to wound. With contagions, that's 4 4-up saves on the Terminators. And you make every single save. Stop it now. Stop it.
Nope.
Here's the entropy cannons. 1 hit, 1 lethal. This one will wound on a 3. Doesn't wound. 4-up and vulnerable save. You fail it. D6 plus 1 damage. For 6 damage. That definitely nukes one. Stubber came in, took off a wound. Then we have fetid bloat drone. Firing in with heavy blight launcher, and I miss 5 out of 6 times. Zinch. I hate Zinch. I love Nurgle. I don't even wound. We could shoot with the Rhino, but it isn't going to change the shape of the battle. These guys ran over here, so that's pretty much the end of my shooting phase. So now a unit of Plague Marines want to charge some Alaris Custodian Terminators. Not the best idea I've ever had. And it's a very long charge as well, but let's give it a go. Please, no, 6 isn't going to make it. I've got a CP this turn. Let's spend it, and let's roll a 10. I made it. Like Papa Nurgle's heroes, we made it. Here we are after we piled in. You've spent a CP on what now?
Some fancy name stratagem that gives you -1 to hit.
Okay, so I'm hitting you on 4s.
Yes, you do.
Making this fight against Terminators even harder. This is going to be fine. This is a full unit of 2nd Plague Marines. Everything's going to be fine. Except for the fact that the heavy blight weapons now hit you on 5s. But that's lethal. And that's a hit. And then that is a wound. 2 wounds, 2 4-up and vulnerable saves. You're okay. Alright, Plague Knives. 4, 6 is lethal. And then 5s. Okay, 4 wounds, 4 3-up saves because of contagions.
1 is down to 1 wound.
I didn't kill any. And now they get to fight back. The Terminators fight back, going for sustained hits. Here's the axe. And it misses twice. Wounds on that. Okay. 4-up saves, because it's only -1.
Yep.
You kill 2. There's the guys with spears. Okay, were you going for sustained?
Yeah, I did.
You were going for sustained.
That's for the whole unit.
Okay. Right. And then 3s to wound with your spears of doom. Okay.
5. Minus 2 to damage.
2 guys have died so far. And then 5 guys die in total.
So there's 2
there'll be 2 left, holding you up as we go into Custodes, turn 5. Here we are after the Custodes movement phase. And they're keeping their guns sheathed. They're not going to shoot. Blade Champion, locking down that one. Custodian Guardsman, locking down this one. Terminators taking a step back. Directing traffic here. Telling the Wardens and the Shield Captain to charge to try and take this objective. And the Custodian Guardians trying to charge to take this objective. If the Terminators have stayed there, then I would have fought first. I could have potentially killed one. And squeezing there wasn't a way to... it could have gone badly. With a tank with an OC of 4, there was a potential going badly. But Custodes on the charge, it should go really well. So the guys hopping up and over the wall, they charge 8 inches. And then over here, you just don't want to roll snake eyes, but you've got the CP that you've got this... there's a 10. That's a 10. Custodes doing what Custodes do. And in the charge phase, we've got this unit engaging 2 Plague Marines. And this unit engaging 2 Plague Marines. Now we fight. Starting here. Picking sustained hits. Here are the swords. Moves on 3s. 5 up saves. They get nuked. And the Custodians consolidate onto this objective. And take it off of the Death Guard. And then we're coming over here with the Shield Captain and his unit. What are you swinging first?
The X's. Sustained hits as well.
Okay. 2s. 6s explode. And 3s. With 4 up saves. And they get wiped out as well. And at the very end of the battle, Custodes have locked down 4 out of 6 of the objectives. Plague Marines only hold on to this one and this one round here. But how much are these objectives worth? Only D3 points each. It looks like you've taken the compound. That's very narrative.
It is.
You've taken the crypts where all the relics and all the bones lay. But have the Death Guard got here earlier and raided them and taken all the good stuff?
How dare you?
I mean, are they only worth 1 point each? And instead is the entrance to the battle grid and this watchtower worth a lot of points. So what I'll do, you've got 4 to roll. I've got 2 to roll. So if you roll, drop dice don't count. If you roll 1 first, we'll see what we're working with. Please roll a 1. Okay, 2 points on one of them. So I'm going to roll a 5 or 6. This will be good. Okay, you're already beating me. It's 2 points to 1. Next one. Okay, 3 points to 1. There's still a draw on the cards. If I roll high, 4 points to 3, and then 4 points to 4, and then the last objective is 6 points to 4. The Custodes win it. 6 points to 4, pushing the Death Guard back. One of these crypts was raided. One of them wasn't worth very many points.
I'll give you this one.
Thank you. This is the way the world ends. So I think what it was you stayed cautious for a couple of turns. There wasn't a lot of death in turns 1 or 2, waiting for the Death Guard to come closer before you jumped on them. And I think that's what turned the tide. So thanks for coming all the way from Austria, Wolfgang. How was it for you?
It was lovely.
Yeah.
I had great fun. It was a blast.
What do you think about these kind of missions where you wait till the very end and score at the very end, this sort of thing?
These are awesome because it was very nerve-wracking till the whole game.
Yeah.
And in the end, it was still this last time of how much point are these things worth? And you could still have won it with just 2 of the objectives, which was nice, yeah. And it was fun to play against Death Guard. I haven't had a game against Death Guard in ages.
Really? Okay.
Because they are tough. Custodes are tough. It was basically like we're hitting each other with whatever and nobody fell over.
Yeah.
So, I was quite surprised about I was able to take on the Terminators.
All the Terminators.
But I really committed there.
You did.
And I think that was one of the game-winning moves.
Yeah, I think
I was not able to get any further and grab any objectives anymore.
No. But in the end, these kind of missions where you fight over the objectives at the very end of the end, they can turn out to be incredibly tactical. because you were thinking quite hard about the deep striking, were thinking about quite hard about repositioning Terminators. I mean, I thought quite hard at the beginning of the game whether to stick any of my Terminators in deep strike or just push. And I felt like the Death Guard push would be enough, but in the end, it wasn't. So thanks for coming. Thanks everyone who watched this video. Hope you enjoyed it. GameMat.eu for the thing. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Go outside, hug someone, touch some grass, and happy wargaming.